Hello, dear students. How are you? Are you optimistic? Do you stay at home all the time? Do you study your lessons well? Please pay attention to these pictures. Who is this person? Is he alive? Do you know what was his occupation? Yes, you are right. He is Maxim Gorky. Today the theme of our lesson will be about Maxim Gorky. Today, objectives of the lesson are: we shall learn about hard life of Maxim Gorky. We shall write, read, speak about this great Russian writer. Today, we also will use past indefinite tense. I think at the end of the lesson we'll recognize that reading books and hard working will always help us in future. Maxim Gorky Peshkov is a writer whose name is well known in most countries of the world. He was born in Nizhny Novgorod on the 28th of March 1868. When the boy was 4, his father died and his mother remarried and went to Moscow. In 1876, she died too. Alyosha was brought up by his grandparents. Later, he described his unhappy childhood in his novel Childhood. When Alyosha was 10 years old, he was sent to school, but he didn't go to school long. Soon his grandfather became very poor and sent the boy to a bookshop to work. Books helped him to understand life better, feel himself not so quiet alone on the earth. He read many books by Russian and foreign writers. Young Peshkov enjoyed Pushkin and Lermontov very much. Working day and night, he wrote stories. In 1896, Gorky came back to Nizhny Novgorod and became a correspondent. One after another, his new stories were published, and Gorky became a popular writer. Maxim Gorky wrote many stories, poems, novels. Mother is his best novel. It's based on real events which took place in Russia just before the revolution of 1905. In the novel, Maxim Gorky describes the struggle of the Russian proletariat for a better future and for socialist society. It may be interesting to know that Mother was published not in Russian, but in an English translation. Let's review new words and word combinations that we will need in our speech today. Repeat after me. Well known, well known. Remarried, remarried. Was brought up, was brought up. Unhappy childhood, unhappy childhood. Became very poor, became very poor. Different jobs, different jobs. A great book lover, a great book lover. To spend free time, to spend free time. To understand life better, to understand life better. To support himself, to support himself. Now, dear students, please open your books. At page 171, find text Maxim Gorky. Look through the text and match yes with the sentences. This is yes talking task. Let's check this exercise together. First sentence. He was born in Nizhny Novgorod on the 28th of March, 1868. In 1876, his mother died too. In 1895, during 2 days, he wrote the story Chalkash, which was published in the magazine Russkое богатство. In 1896, Gorky came back to Nizhny Novgorod and became a correspondent. And in year 1905, it's based on the real events which took place in Russia just before the revolution. And the last year, it is the year when Gorky left the country. And read these sentences. Let's decide which sentence is true and which is false. Let's check the answers together. When Maxim Gorky was 4 years old, his father died. Yes, this sentence is true. Maxim Gorky is world-famous writer. Yes, you are right. He is world-famous writer. Alyosha was not brought up by his grandparents. No, this sentence is false. On the contrary, Alyosha was brought up by his grandparents. Soon his grandfather became very rich. No, this sentence is false. His grandfather became very poor. Because of poverty, he went to boot shop to work. Yes, he had to work very early. Maxim Gorky was not a great book lover. No, this sentence is false. On the contrary, Maxim Gorky was a great book lover. He read many books. Books did not help him to understand life better. False. Just books helped him to understand life better. Working day and night, he wrote stories. Yes, he worked very hard, but he wrote many stories, novels. Maxim Gorky didn't write many stories, poems, and novels. On the contrary, Maxim Gorky became well-known writer after his stories, poems, novels. Mother is his best novel. Yes, true. Now, dear students, choose verbs from the text in the past indefinite tense and divide them into 2 columns. Pay attention to these verbs. Regular, irregular. We use verbs in the past indefinite tense in regular and irregular forms. Pay attention to regular verbs. Let's read them and translate. Died, remarried, described, worked, helped, enjoyed, wanted, seemed, published, struggled. You can write these verbs in your notebooks. Irregular verbs: was born, was brought up, became, took up, took, met, saw, read, understood, wrote. Let's listen the song with past indefinite tense. Pay attention to the verbs in the past.
Sometimes in life you need to describe something that happened and it's been a while. You use it about something that is done and dusted. It's easy to remember, it's the simple past. And everyone knows with regular verbs, you just put ed at the end of the word. But irregular verbs can be very hard. The only chance you have is to learn them by heart. So I found you, sought, I threw, you caught, I sold, you bought, and you paid. I ate, you drank, I grew, you shrank, you swam while I sank. You forgave me when I rang. I thought that we could, so we began. The past of be is I, he, she, it was. The others they were, but you knew that of course. When you need to make a question, you use did at the start. Like, did you like this song about the simple past? It's used when something happened at a certain time, or for a longer period that stopped after a while. It often goes with expressions like yesterday or ago. The Brits say learnt and dreamt, but Americans don't. So you slept, I woke, you heard, I spoke, I lent, it bent and it broke. I wrote, you drew, I rode, you flew, you stood while I ran. You forgave me when I rang. I thought that we could, so we began. So we began. So we began.
Now we shall write pyramid story. Let's write pyramid story of Maxim Gorky. You can use this structure in order to build pyramid story. First, you must write the name of the person you are going to describe. Then, character, age, other features of him. In the third sentence, you can write events which took place around him, problems in his life, money, poverty, death, other events you can write in the fourth sentence. Describe the first memorable event in his life. Second event this person has faced. In the seventh sentence, words that describe third event. What was done to solve the problem? And the last, other events that solve problems in the life of the writer. Pay attention to these questions. These questions are in the past indefinite tense. Questions in the past tense with main verbs always begin with did. I think answers to these questions will help us to build pyramid story. First question. Whom are we talking about? Where was he born? Is he a well-known writer? Was he brought up by his grandparents? In what novel did he describe his unhappy childhood? Did he do different jobs because of poverty? Did he finish any school? Did books help him not to feel alone? Did he write many books while working day and night? Did he write his story Chalkhash by the request of Korolenko? When did he come back to Nizhny Novgorod? Did he become a correspondent? Did he understand that he knew life better than educated народniks? Was the novel Mother one of his best works? Did he describe the struggle of the Russian proletariat for the better future? Guys, well done. Your pyramid story was built right. Read this story once more. Let's summarize our lesson. Please answer the questions. Did books help the writer in his life? Yes, books helped him in his life. Was Maxim Gorky a hard worker? Yes, Maxim Gorky worked all the time. Do you think books will help you to reach your purpose? Yes, of course, you are right. Books will help you to reach your purpose. Do you think it's time to read books while staying at home? Do you read books? Yes, of course, thank you. Most of you read books. Do you work hard? What's your opinion? Will it help you in your future life? Yes, hard working always will help us in our life. You did it very well. Thank you. Please pay attention to our homework. I ask you to read the text and speak about his hard life and speak about his first stories. Please read one of novels of Maxim Gorky. Thank you for your attention. Our lesson is over.